Okay, so in the article, there was an incident that was mentioned from 2002. So I guess at the time, you guys were in Malibu?
Yes.
According to the article, your third wife and your stepdaughter had left the house to go somewhere, I guess to a movie. And then your stepdaughter, I guess Yana,
Yes.
was the one who said that she needed to go back because she had forgotten a sweatshirt. And she said that when she went into her bedroom, she saw you sniffing her dirty underwear.
No, no. That's completely false. No. When that was a day or two after I got back from South Africa. I'd been in South Africa for a month, got back and found the house to be in a very, very disheveled state. And I was very annoyed. And I vented on everybody. I said, no, look, this is, I really was angry. Because basically Elon had bought us this house. And it was an extremely expensive house. And I just wanted them to value it, But anyway, so I was shouting at everybody. But Yana came to me and said that the light in her bedroom doesn't work. So I said, all right. So I went to I went up to see what fault was, found a globe, and I was about to replace the light. And when I got to her room, I found it with just plates with unfinished food all over the place, half a dozen plates with unfinished food. She'd actually pulled the curtains right out of the wall that I'd spent quite a lot of time trying to fit, because the walls in America are made of sort of cardboard, and it's very hard to fix the curtains to the wall. But anyway, she'd pull on the curtains, pull the whole curtain system out of the wall in this beautiful room, and the house and the room was in a terrible state. So I started tidying up, throwing things in the wash basket, and that's when she walked in. And she said, what are you doing? So I said, well, I'm cleaning up. And this led to her saying, I don't want you in my room doing that. And I started shouting, well, you can't have a room like this. This is out of the question. And so we went downstairs. We had a row. And I don't know. I never heard of the sniffing underwear thing. Never heard of it. It just was something quite new to me. But I reached the point with them at that point. I said, I'm not going to be able to live like this. I can't live like this. And, in South Africa, we had black servants, or rather servants, should I say, who picked up after these people everywhere when we lived in South Africa. So we had that. But when we got to America, there were no servants. So if you didn't clean your home yourself, there was nobody to come and do everything for you. And they were used to having everything done for them. Beds made, washing. If you wanted something, you just take it from the cupboard, ironed and ready. Everything's done for you. And when we got to America, they were not living like that. They were living very bad. And as I say, my biggest concern was that Elon had paid so much for this home. I couldn't have wet towels causing, what are that called, mold and all that sort of stuff in the carpeting and everything. They just threw everything around. So that's how it was. So that's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And you can ask Yana. She actually sent the New York Times a letter saying that that's absolute nonsense. It's not true.
Okay, but according to the article, after she accused you of sniffing her underwear...
No, she didn't.
That the family...
No, they made that up. Well,
they made that up. Okay, but the article said that the family called the police...
You're making a statement. She accused you of sniffing her underwear. She never said anything like that. The aunties and the mother, they made that up.
Okay, but were the police called and there was a complaint with Child Protective Services around that time?
No. They did get hold of my sons, and I said, I can't live there anymore. After that, I said, I just can't live here. I don't want to be part of this anymore. And so I left. I never stayed there afterwards. I wasn't prepared to stay under those circumstances. And I found myself, I went to a hotel and said, I'm not prepared to live like that. And they gave this big story to my sons. And as far as I know, I'm not 100% sure what happened after that, except I did get a call from the social worker set up in LA who said to me that I should come on a Wednesday or something between such and such a time, I think it's something like that, so that I can speak to one of their social family workers, which was very nice. So I went to see them on the day they told me, and then I told them what the circumstances were, and that I'm not very happy with the situation, and that was about it. But I'd had enough. I wasn't prepared to go on like that, and shortly after that, Elon suggested buying me a boat, which I'm very into sailing and stuff. So we bought a boat in Marina del Rey, and I moved on to that. But I wasn't on the boat a day or two, when Hader and the children all arrived to come and stay on the boat with me. And they all stayed on the boat with me. It was a very big boat. I mean, it was a fantastic boat. It was a wedding cake next to Johnny Carson's boat. And, they all came and stayed with me, and we just carried on as though nothing had happened. But I'd had enough of the whole situation in LA. I wasn't prepared to go on with that situation. I didn't like it. Elon had given Hader Marie my cards, his cards, to use for everything she needed. They gave me, I didn't need it. I didn't need any money. I had money in South Africa I could take from. But anyway, they gave me $200 every 10 days or so, I think it was, something like that. $200. It wasn't a week. It was a little bit over a week. They gave me $200 in an envelope that was given to me every 10 days or something. For me, that's my expense money, $200. And in the meantime, Hader, who I had been living in super luxury with me in South Africa in beautiful homes, where I was the breadwinner of the home and the father of the home and everything, she was now in charge of everything. And my sons made her in charge of everything, which was crazy, absolutely crazy. And so as soon as I was on the boat, they were all at the boat, and everything was back to normal. And then I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going back to South Africa. I've got to see to properties I still had here. And so I left. I left shortly afterwards. It was just after Valentine's Day. So Valentine's night, all this sort of thing happened in the December. But Valentine's night, my wife at the time and I, Hader Marie, we went out for Valentine's, and she was wonderful. We went to Casablanca in LA. It's a Mexican restaurant up in the Marina del Rey area, which I recommend to everybody. And we had a wonderful time. So I left back to South Africa, and immediately Hader and the children told me they want to come back to South Africa. So all their passports were in Elon's hands, or his officer's hands. So they didn't want to let anybody know they were going back to South Africa. And we still had active tickets to return, which had never been used. So I sort of kindle those tickets. You pay a little extra and get them re-energized. And I told them to go to the South African embassy and get a temporary passport on the basis that their passports have been misplaced. And they did that. And then they made for the airport, leaving everything behind. Everything, all my paintings, all my records, everything. I left it all there in LA. I originally took it over. And then they got on a plane. But in the meantime, my wife's then sister heard of the plan for them to come back to South Africa. So they contacted Elon's office. It's almost like a novel, really, or something like a movie, and told Elon's office that Hader and the children are going to try and get away. So there was a race to the airport, but Hader Marie and the children were able to get on the plane and get away. And so they got back to South Africa. In the meantime, I had a very big house here, which I subsequently sold for the deputy president of South Africa, the guy who's now the president. And a very big house, a very beautiful home. And I had that home, and they came and we stayed there. But we decided after a year or so to move to the Cape, because the upper country, the higher parts of this country, or the parts up country, are being systematically destroyed by the black government,